Alright, hey YouTube, this is Do Yourself Mike, Martin Lawn and Workbench. So today, I was going to try and do a video of a craft that I was making. I had camera issues again. I'm trying to figure that out, hopefully this week. But figured I'd do an unboxing for you. I just got this rigid, it's a trim router, it's a R24012. And it's just a little horse and a half compact router. So I figured I'd do an unboxing and just give a kind of my review of it. Looked at a couple different trim routers and they all had different characteristics that I liked about them. But as far as right out of the box, what I was going to be doing, this was probably the better of the deal. So, not to mention it has a lifetime service agreement through Home Depot where I got it. So, yeah, so I'm going to do an unboxing, and I'm going to be, hopefully, I'll be able to do a few unboxings for you. I'm not going to do too much just because it costs money to get tools. If I have, eventually, I'd like to try and get where I have a company that I can work with to do reviews on their different products. But let's see. So the box has a lot of instructions as you're opening it. Just basic register your product and get service parts, plans. It does have a cloth case from what I'm seeing. It's not bad. It kind of looks like a lunchbox. Zipper all the way around. You've got your instructions, operator's manual. I'll have to read that later. Alright, so right off the bat, it's pretty compact in the case anyway. The only downside I can see to the soft case is it has a lot of play in the bottom of it. So you got a square base. And you got different parts to your edge guide. So, and a couple of reviews I watched, not to critique other people's reviews or not, but he called this a base. It's not a base. This is part of your edge guide, and pretty much what it makes it happen is so that you can set up whatever distance you are, and then whether you're doing a dado or just an interior trim, you can go right alongside the edge, and then you're pretty much as straight as your outside edge is. That's how straight this is going to be. There's also in this package there is the wrench for the collet. It does come with a looks like flush trim bit, which is pretty cool. And then the router itself. So everything's wrapped up really nicely. Excuse me. So right off the bat, it's really, really clean. It does have a nice feel in the hand. Has a little bit of a rattle to it, but it might just be, I think that's probably just the collet because it's not tightened down. So let's see. On this one, it does have a stop right here for if you want to change bits. Pretty much what you do is you have your wrench for the flat, or you can use a wrench on the collet at the same time. Oh, that's what's rattling. Got it. So on this, it does have a dust shield on the back. Pretty much just to make it so that you don't have a lot of dust kicking back out at you. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, so one thing to note, at least on this from what I can tell, this base is not designed to come off. With other routers like Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee, Makita and DeWalt, you have different bases that you can get. This one does not. I just barely figured that out, because you've got, with the other ones, normally when you undo this, you can adjust it differently for whatever you're working on. This one does not have that, so that would definitely explain why some people were, like, some people, depending on what you're doing for work, some people are really picky about what kind of base you have. The dust shield on the back does just pop right off. It does rattle a little bit. I'll find out once I start using it how much it actually rattles. It is new, so it does have okay. So it does have a little bit of rattle to it, just because it is new and it doesn't have any dust stuck in where it would rattle. So yeah, like I was saying, it does have one base. The only thing that you can really change on this one, from what I can see, is square base versus round base. It's got the round base on it now with a face plate, and you've got a square face plate that you can put on it. And the one benefit to having it be square is that it will, you can go along a straight edge. Let's say you're doing inside trim work versus outside, where you're just going along a fence. That'll work good for that. All in all, it feels like a really sturdy router. It does have, on this one, don't get your dials confused, you've got a fine adjuster here, where pretty much, let's see, so pretty much what it does is you can fine-tune whatever you're working on. So let's say you're off by a 32nd of an inch and you only want to do that little bit of hair difference. You can adjust it that way. This is your router speed setting. So whatever it's set at, that's how fast whatever the ratio is. Your on-off is right here. There are some people that had a little bit of a discrepancy on whether this was a good idea or not, because they said if you wanted it on, they didn't like it so much. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because I haven't run it. But for now, it's not really hurting my feelings yet. So we'll find out once I start actually using it. Let's get the cord unraveled and I'll see how it runs. It does have a nice long cord. So it looks like probably a 5 or 6 foot cord, which is nice. So let's see. So one thing that I can see that I'm not sure if I'm going to be a huge fan or not is the button does, some places had a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of discrepancy on as far as the button goes for the power. I'm not sure if it's going to rattle down on me or not. It doesn't click. So whether it's really easy to turn it on and off, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like that or not. It does have, it builds up speed, so you're not going to want to turn it on and then go right to whatever you're trimming or using an edge on. So you want to let it get up to speed before you start making your pass. It does have, I did notice this is when it was turned on, it does have a light. So that I think will actually be a perk. so we'll find out as I start using it. I'm still not sure how I feel about this, but I think as it gets a little bit of dust in it, it should work pretty well. One thing to remember, anytime you're using a power tool, especially if it's a router, even if it does have a dust shield on it, you do want to be wearing some eye protection. I'm going to end up preaching it myself on that one too, just because force of habit. But just remember, wear your eye protection if you need to. If you're going to be doing this a long time, you are going to be kicking out some decibels, so you are going to want to make sure that you wear some hearing protection at the same time. Let's see. Just want to look at the, there's a wrench in here too. I wanted to double check on that real quick. Alright, so one thing to remember too that I'm just seeing is, because of how this is set up, it does have, it's like a set screw, but it's only with a finger nut. So on the side of your edge guide, you put your rods in, and then I'll put both of them in just for sake of doing it. So you'll want to make sure that you so you set both of them, and then it goes like that, and then it screws into the side of the trim router. So I'm not going to do it completely, but it should look something like this. And pretty much you can do it. It looks like just from this side. So pretty much when you're working, you'd end up going at it like this. I'm left-handed, so I'm probably going to end up doing it more like this. Make sure that you test fit everything. So this is the wrench that comes with it as far for the collet. It's not bad. You don't have a lot of range as far as how far you can. Yeah, you really don't have a lot of range. I mean, you can kind of get it from the bottom as far as tightening down the collet. Just like with anything, you do want to be careful about what you're doing. Sometimes it's better to look and see what other people have done. I've been doing a lot of video watching on other people that have already reviewed this particular router, and a lot of people said that for what they were doing, it worked fine. It does. So one thing to know too that I'm just seeing too is trying to put this all back in the case. It's probably not going to happen. So the case is probably a little bit overrated. That's one thing I did notice too with my DeWalt tools that I have. If it came with a soft case, what are you going to use it for? So it ended up turning into a lunchbox. But so that's my review of unboxing of a rigid trim router or compact router or whatever you call it. So hopefully this next video I'll actually be doing a craft. But thank you for everybody that has been viewing my videos and subscribing. Feel free to subscribe again or follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and hopefully we'll start making something this week. So thank you again.